Like many artists, I began my doll making journey with an old sewing machine on my kitchen table. Every day I'd unpack all my materials and practice for as long as I could until I had to pack everything away so the kitchen could go back to being a family kitchen again. I dreamt of having my own spacious doll making studio where I could work uninterrupted and build a real business. Eventually my dream came true and I acquired my first dedicated studio space. A tiny 20-year-old caravan. In that little plastic box, I sewed, I sculpted, I painted, and I made stuff. That's when I really began learning how to make dolls and where I came up with the idea for beady dolls. I wanted to make dolls that don't take up any shelf space so they could be displayed in smaller spaces like caravans or camper vans. Adding a hanging ribbon seemed like the obvious solution, but I also wanted to add a bit of weight so they'd hang well without flapping around too much. One of the other crafts I'd been exploring at the time was jewellery making, so I started experimenting with some different materials I had lying around and found that threading glass beads to make the arms and legs gave me the weight I needed. They also look pretty cool. I've developed my design a little in the years since I made the first beaded doll, but they're still made basically the same. I start with a cloth head and body. I think some of the early ones were stuffed with polyester. These days I use kapok fibre. It's moisture repellent and mould and pest resistant, which is especially important in a caravan, boat or camper van. I don't want the face to fade over time, so the materials I use need to be good quality. Derwent Coloursoft pencils are acid free and light fast, so I know the shading will last. I use blending pencils to soften the edges, then I give it a coat of fixative spray to stop it smudging. I'll put some links to these in the description. While the fixative is drying, I'll work on the dress. The colour scheme for this doll is going to be all green and purple, so I'm using some purple striped cotton for the bodice. I want it to be tailored to the doll, so I've pinned it in place and I'm hand stitching it to get a good fit. I've chosen some pale green resin buttons for the eyes. I'd usually use a darker colour button with some white thread, but as these buttons are so pale, I've decided to go for a dark purple thread to give them some contrast. I always tend to go for the 4-hole coat buttons. I just really like the look of the cross thread in the middle. The line work is all done with Derwent Line Maker pens, which are permanent, waterproof and light fast. She just needs a little shading under the mouth with coloured pencil and her personality is starting to emerge. The dress needs to look good in hanging, so I tend to use a lot of lace for beaded dolls. This one is going to have a double layered skirt in purple and green. You always need more lace than you think you will. It's a delicate balance. I like to make sure there's enough for it to be evenly gathered all the way around, but I don't want it to be too bulky around the waist. The hanging ribbon is every bit as important as the rest of the doll. I've chosen some pale green grosgrain with a bit of silver glitter running through it. I thread a ring onto it so the doll can be hung up without damage to the ribbon. The hanger is securely sewn to the top of the head. I'll cover the stitches with the hair. These glass beads have a translucent green and purple coating on them. It looks really effective when they catch the light. I tried a few different methods of beading the limbs before I settled on the way I do it now. I don't like having knots visible at the ends, so the last bead is a teardrop shape with a hole drilled through the top. I was torn between the green glass drop beads and the little iridescent purple ones, so I decided to use the green ones on her legs and the purple ones on her arms. Once I get the leg to the right length, I pass the thread through the drop bead, then back up through the other beads and secure it with a couple of stitches under the clothing at the top. If I hadn't been exploring other arts and crafts, I'd never thought of making a doll this way. Trying different things makes you a better artist. Whether it's embroidery, hat making, beaded jewellery or needle felted animals, you can take the skills you learn and pour them into your art dolls. Trying new things gives you new perspectives and new ideas. That's how you find your own unique style. If you're enjoying seeing this little one take shape, don't forget to give the video a like and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'm using some super chunky weighted acrylic yarn for the hair. This yarn has a lovely wavy texture when it's unravelled. As usual, I'm needle felting it in with the clover tool and 3 38 gauge needles. I start at the back of the head and work forwards. I'm careful to felt around the anchor points for the button eyes so the thread doesn't get snagged or break the needles. When I get about halfway, I start to unravel the yarn. I can pull the loose ends out and use those to fill in the top of the head, so none of it will be wasted. I need to work around the hanging ribbon on the top of the head. I'm starting to feel a bit of resistance on the needles here as I get close to the seam, so I'm switching to another felting tool that has 2 needles in it. These are the same gauge, but with 2 needles it feels a little bit easier to felt into the firmer areas. I arrange the hair around the hanging ribbon so it covers all the stitches and looks nice and tidy, without restricting it at all. I'll secure it at the side and find something to make a little hair clip. I had a look through my collection of beads and found this little antique silver finish flower. It kind of gives her a cute retro look. Now she just needs a necklace to finish off her outfit. I've got some little green glass seed beads that are perfect for this, along with a little silver tone frog charm. At 7 inches tall, she's perfect for a tiny space like the 36-foot narrowboat I now call home. Who needs a big studio space anyway? If you'd like to see more beady dolls, watch this one next, and I'll see you next time. Bye!